You know, the United States of America was the greatest country before Trump, and it's the greatest country now after Trump. The white supremacists want to go back. They want to go back to the days when it was legal to own slaves.
You are about to be entertained by the ape, the young man who has become a legend of his own time. Come on, and I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
All right, what's up, everybody? If you can't handle the truth, get your ass out of here. Oh, boy. Anyway, what's up, everybody? Yours truly, the R. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program coming to you live right now. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and TikTok tonight. TikTok. I figured let's go on TikTok tonight and stir up some stuff. Anyway, welcome, everybody. It's the 3rd of July, tomorrow's 4th of July. I hope you got your picnic spot, your barbecue spot all picked out. I know I do have mine. Matter of fact, there's a couple of them that I may attend to. But, you know, before I go to the barbecue, I had to make sure that the person who's giving it knows how to cook. You ever go to a barbecue and the food, you know, and the chicken tastes like wood, like the old Rappers Delight the old Rappers Delight early on hip hop. Yeah. So I make sure that people know how to cook before I get there. Anyway, everybody, just a couple minutes. Matter of fact, it's 15, 16 minutes past the hour. You're not supposed to start at 7 o'clock, but my computer is like, you know, just gives me all kinds of trouble. Time to get a new one. Gotta, you know, put my bid in. Anyway, everybody, it's Big Beautiful Bill Day. We're gonna talk about that. And Diddy got off. Well, not exactly, but you know, I think that the judge. We'll get into it in a few minutes. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. It's 17 minutes past the hour. Yeah, tonight we're on TikTok, so you can go over TikTok, the Ron Kelly Show on TikTok, and you can check us out over there. But man, you know, I was rooting for Diddy. You know, you can say what you want to say, but I was rooting for Diddy. You know, because I do believe that there is somewhat of a conspiracy going on where wealthy black folks, and black men, it goes back to Michael Jackson and R. Kelly and Bill Cosby and some of the other people. Now, I'm not saying that they're not, you know, they're not culpable of doing something, but it seems like there's an extra emphasis when black men do the same thing that white men do. Look at Trump. Trump has done everything, you know, financial crimes, you know, sexual assault. He's done it all, you know, and there's a double standard between what black men do and what white men do. White men do a lot of stuff. They get away with a lot of stuff. Black folks, you know, black folks do the same things they do, and we don't get anything. So, you know, it's been going on for years where we've been saying that black folks, you know, we've said that black folks can't do the same thing that white folks do, you know. I mean, if Jeffrey Epstein wasn't so egregious with what he did, you know, if he wasn't so egregious, he might have got away with it. So there's a lot of stuff going on, you know, and the government was overzealous in their prosecution, you know, of Diddy. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I know that because the RICO Act, come on, that's reserved for John Gotti and, you know, and people like that. Cartel leaders. That's not meant for the average person. And the government couldn't prove that Puffy had a conspiracy going on. They couldn't prove it. It was only him. He was the boss of everything. So he wasn't doing what he was doing in conjunction with anybody. He was doing what he was doing on his own, by himself. With a RICO statute, you have to be able to prove that the person worked in conjunction with somebody else. And that didn't happen. So I'm like, the government, they tried to bury Diddy. The only thing he did, the only thing they can prove rather is that he transported people, brought like strippers or whatever in to for those freak offs. that they go. And then people do, I can't even imagine what's going on in a lot of people's houses across America. And not to necessarily only the rich people, but the people, the well-to-do, I guess, the middle class, people doing all kinds of stuff, So I can't imagine, I can't imagine what's going on in some of the people's houses across the United States of America. Okay, and the views and opinions expressed here are exclusively those of myself and R. Kelly Media Enterprise LLC, and are not those of my advertisers or my support team. For the people on TikTok, the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program usually airs on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. I have pages on all three of those. Social media outlets. And matter of fact, the show is live on Facebook, YouTube, and Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn right now. You got to keep yourself on LinkedIn now, because that's where the job people are. So you got to keep yourself on LinkedIn. But yeah, I was rooting for Diddy. And, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Trump is going to pardon Diddy. I said it right here. It's the 3rd of July, 2025. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. I'm telling you right now, that Trump is going to pardon Diddy. Right after all of this is over, once Diddy gets sentenced, President Trump is going to pardon Diddy. Because he's got to do something to make up to the black folks. So he's going to try to throw us a bone, and he's going to pardon Diddy. That's just going to happen. He's going to pardon Diddy. So we'll look for that. Anyway, everybody, it's 25 minutes past the hour. It's Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. And yeah, I was rooting for Diddy. I'm happy that, I wanted him to get acquitted of all charges. Because like I said, these same things go on, and and white man does the same thing that Diddy does, but he gets away with it and Diddy didn't. So it's a lesson that we have to learn, that we can't do the same things that white folks do. We just can't, because more focus gets put on us. But I'm happy for Diddy. I'm glad, he's still going to do some time now. And I thought it was some bullshit that the judge wouldn't let him go home. I mean, why not? He's been in jail. Let me rewind this. He came up here when he first found out that there was something going on, that there might be an indictment and there might be an arrest. He came up here and he got a hotel room at the Ritz-Carlton, probably. But he came up here and he got a hotel room. This is before he even got arrested. When he found out, because he wasn't even in the country when they raided his houses. He wasn't there. So once he found out what happened, he came back here. He went to New York and he waited. He went to New York and he waited. He said, well, okay, I'm going to wait here to see what happens. So he went to New York and he waited for the police to come, and the police did eventually come and scooped him up. So if he was a flight risk, he wasn't even in. I don't think he was even in America at the time that they raided his houses. So if he was a flight risk, he would have left right then and there. He got 2 or 3 planes, Gulfstream 7s and all of this stuff that can fly anywhere in the world. So if he was such a flight risk, if he was such a flight risk, then why did he come here and just turn himself in practically? See, it's all bullshit. Black man get a little money, get a little property, prestige. Because they tried it on Jay-Z, but Jay-Z was ready. They tried it on Jay-Z. Jay-Z was ready. Jonathan Majors, not so much. But Jay-Z was ready. And when they came at him, he squashed that real quick. Jay-Z hadn't, I imagine that Jay-Z probably really hadn't done anything. But with Diddy, Diddy was, liable for some of the stuff. He did some of the stuff that they said he did, the prostitution. But he wasn't the RICO, and it wasn't the sexual you know, that he was holding people against their will. No, they was more than happy because they knew Diddy had some money, you know, and people will sell their soul and their ass for whatever kind of money they can get. Now, you know, Diddy is $500 million at least net worth. So those people, they was down with Diddy. That chick, you know, his girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, she was down. She was down. You know, then she want to get up on the stand and say, "Oh, he beat me, bitch. You could have left. I didn't see, you know, all of the photos and the paparazzi pictures and whatnot. I didn't see no, you know, where she got hurt, beat up. She had never showed up with no black eyes. There ain't enough makeup in the world to cover up a black eye. And she, you know, she was chilling, you know, living a life that she wouldn't have got even close to if it wasn't for Diddy. You know, I'm not saying that Diddy was right. I'm not saying that, you know, that he is not without some kind of culpability here. I'm not saying that, but I mean, come on. You know, everybody that got down with Diddy got down with him because they wanted to. And then they want to get up on the, you know, they want to get up on the stand and talk shit. You know, you wanted to be with Diddy because Diddy had the money that you could never have gotten. You'd have to work a couple of months to get what you got from Diddy in one night. You know, so the prostitutes or whoever, they were down, the male escorts, whatever, they was all down. Everybody was down. But then they want to get up on the stand and start talking about Diddy, you know, Diddy did stuff to them. Now get the F out of here. You was down. And now you want to get on the stand and bury the man. You know, I mean, come on. Everybody who, you know, all those witnesses they call, they all was down. Don't tell me you know that you was held against your will and it was some sex trafficking. Get the F out of here. It wasn't no sex trafficking. You know, in Nevada, in the state of Nevada, prostitution is legal. You can go to the bunny ranch, roll up in there and get you some and roll back out. You know, and the hoes pay taxes. Oh man, I just had it. I just had it. I mean, it's just unbelievable. But I was down with Diddy. You know, he's still gonna get something, maybe a year or two. Hopefully, Trump will step in. Like I've said, Trump may step in and give the brother a break. I hope he does. I don't support what he did. I'm not, you know, down with all of that. But, you know, I think that it was the overzealousness of the prosecution trying to and now they want to give him 20 years. How many of us have picked up a hooker? You know what I'm saying? How many of us brothers who might be on TikTok or whatever, Facebook, whatever, who hasn't picked up a hooker? You know, who hasn't, you know, scooped something up off the, you know, in the blue zone? Who hasn't done that? You know, and you want to get a man 20 years because he was engaging with prostitutes? People have engaged with prostitutes for years. It's the very first crime of civilization. They were doing it back in the Roman days, way back in the 1200s. I ain't even talking about I'm talking 8,000 years ago. Prostitution has been around. It was a regular thing in Rome. It was a regular thing. Everybody was sleeping with everybody. I mean, come on. So, you know, I think it was I think that the prosecution, the United States government was overzealous in their prosecution of Diddy, you know, trying to get RICO. That's for John Gotti and, you know, and Pedro. I mean, that's for those Sinaloa cartel guys, RICO statute, because they're all working together. They have an organization. They got a head, and then they got lieutenants, captains, whatever, supervisors. That's a organized crime conspiracy. But what Diddy did, Diddy was the head. There wasn't no. He didn't have no underlings. He wasn't giving nobody no orders. I mean, come on, it's just ridiculous. Yeah, I'm just disgusted. And y'all, you black folks that voted for Trump, y'all fell for the banana in the tailpipe. You drank the Kool-Aid. Now some people's in the hood is about to be hungry because them big snap cards that y'all was getting with 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, all that about to be gone. So y'all ain't gonna be going to the Super Fresh or the ShopRite or whatever is in your Red Lion, Piggly Wiggly, whatever. You ain't gonna be going there and getting lobsters in the beginning of the month. No more. Y'all voted for Trump, and look what happened to you. Just stupid. I'm not sure what that means. Lamar Gates is sending me subliminal messages. I'm not sure what that means. For those of y'all, I'm on Facebook. It's the Ron Kelly Show on Facebook. The Ron Kelly Show on Facebook. It's 7:29. Okay, we know what we'll do. We'll take a break and we'll come back. I'm sorry, TikTok, I haven't gotten to y'all as far as like how I'm going to do the show. I just wanted to splash a little bit on TikTok. But it's the visual, because this is a podcast. It's not just a radio show. It's a podcast. It's R. Kelly Talk at AOL.com. That's R. Kelly Talk at AOL.com is the email. But you can go on Facebook, The Ron Kelly Show, YouTube, The Ron Kelly Show, LinkedIn, The Ron Kelly Show, if you want to see the video, what goes on the screen here on the podcast. All right, when I come back, I'm going to get y'all black and Hispanics, you blacks and you Hispanics sitting up in the White House. Look at us. We in the White House. And there was no other people in the room but y'all. That must have been the black room where all the Negroes went. We in the White House. Donald J. Trump, you stupid asses. The Hispanics, equally stupid. I'm going to get in y'all, give y'all I'm going to give y'all a colonoscopy in a couple of minutes as soon as I come back. Anyway, take a break, come back with more of this program. It is the Ron Kelly Show, and it's on blogtalkradio.com, the RonKellyShow.com, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and tonight, TikTok. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
All right, everybody, we are back. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. It is on July 3rd. I'm so happy that we got a 3-day weekend coming up. I just don't know what to do with myself, but you know what? I'm gonna figure it out. Anyway, everybody, it's 26 minutes before the hour of 8 o'clock on a Thursday night. Feel like a Friday night because ain't no work tomorrow, and I just left from TikTok. Did I just leave TikTok? Oh, they said I had hate speech. They said I had hate. Oh, okay. All right. F you, TikTok. I was just on TikTok and they said that I was hate speeching because I was talking about the blacks and Hispanics who voted for Trump. Um, oh wow, wow, hate speech, hateful behavior. Oh, give me a break. You know what? Trump should have just. They should have sold TikTok. You know, hate speech. I mean, give me a break. Yeah, they said I had hate. Oh God. Oh boy, see that's why I don't go on TikTok. That's exactly why, because I didn't say N words and spics or anything like that. Pardon that expression. I just said blacks and Hispanics who voted for Trump. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, everybody, it's 24 minutes before the hour, and the big beautiful bill was passed today of $4 trillion in tax cuts. $4 trillion in tax cuts at the expense of many government programs such as Medicare, Medicaid, and food stamps. So they're gonna take from the poor and give to the rich. They're not doing the Robin Hood where Robin Hood took from the rich and gave to the poor. They're doing it in reverse. They're taking from the poor and giving to the rich. The spending bill was voted in because it was in the House. They passed it. It went to the Senate, and it found some headwinds, and then it went to the had to go back to the House again a second time, and it went back to the House, and the House passed it this morning, despite Hakeem Jeffries' feeble attempt by Hakeem Jeffries. Okay, what's going on here? Yeah, Hakeem Jeffries' feeble attempt. Okay. Yeah, Hakeem. Yeah, Hakeem Jeffries' feeble attempt to. Okay, why am I here? So, okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Mm, So, okay, so I can hear. How can I hear? Anyway, it's it is to me. blogtalkradio.com, Kelly Show .com, and and yeah. So we got beautiful bill, big beautiful bill. It's on. Hope everybody, because I haven't didn't have the chance to switch over to the other social media outlet, but I will. I definitely will. It's uh, it's about the 17 minutes before the hour. It's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. Hopefully, you can hear me. My Kelly, everybody coming through. Shout out to the people at Amherst Board of Fuel Transportation um, for how long? For 45 years. 45 years, Amherst Board of Fuel Transportation has been your source. Um, yeah, your source for uh, has been your source. Um, you know, so any any event, you want to go to the casino, uh, the casino, um, family reunion, school districts, you name it, Hamilton Porterfield can handle it. It's 908 753 6423, 908 753 Yeah, 908 753. Oh, this is killing me. Okay, one of y'all got. Okay. Mm, all right. So, the big beautiful passed today. Some of y'all. Ooh, wee. Deep cuts in Medicaid, 18% cut in Medicaid, 80-hour per month work week. So that means so everybody who's on Medicaid is going to have to work. Yeah, it's an 80 hour per month work requirement for able-bodied adults on Medicaid ages 19 to 64, including the parents of children over 14. More frequent eligibility tests, restrictions on non-citizen participation, bans on gender-affirming care and Planned Parenthood funding, and tightened verification rules. A similar 80-hour per month work requirement would also apply to able-bodied adults under 65 who rely on SNAP, with platform-wide SNAP reductions totaling roughly $230 billion over 10 years. So that's the average of $23 billion a year cutbacks on SNAP. So the bill also rolls back clean energy tax credits, moves to fund Planned Parenthood so nobody can have an abortion, and reduces funding for ACA marketplace subsidies and CHIP, but doesn't specifically target Medicare. Now, on the flip side, Trump, no tax on overtime and tip deduction is included. It's capped at $25,000 for tips, and half of that for overtime, along with the $10,000 deduction for auto loan interest on U.S. assembled vehicles. So offsetting these cuts, the package spending $46.5 billion for the border wall, $2 billion for DHS, Department of Homeland Security, $29.9 billion for ICE, $25 billion for Golden Dome missile defense system, which is not going to work anyway, and $29 billion for shipbuilding, $15 billion for nuclear deterrence, and $10 billion for space programs. So the Medicaid cuts, the good news, the Medicaid cuts are not taking place right now. The Medicaid cuts are not taking place right now. They're going to wait until December next year. Now, see, here's the trick, because Trump is full of tricks. He's a trickster. And here's the trick. The trick is that Ronald McCready, what is the trick, though? The trick is that the bill doesn't kick in until after the election. It doesn't kick in until after the midterm. Shout out Ronald McCready. Yeah, it doesn't kick in until after the midterm. You see, because they know that if they delay the pain until after the midterm, it's a trick. It's a trick. The whole thing is a trick. The no tax on overtime is a trick. The no tax on tips is a trick. It's all a trick. So you're gonna take from SNAP families and give them. You're gonna take from SNAP families and give those savings to the wealthy, the rich, wealthy in America. I mean, it's sad. It's sad. You're gonna take money from children, SNAP money, WIC money that's needed. So that's why they're waiting. They're gonna let it kick in after the midterm election, because they know that if they let it happen before then, the same flag of people is going to go to the ballot box and go against them. So it's a trick. It's a slick trick. They're not going to let the pain kick in until after the elections, the midterm elections. Because the midterm election, when halfway through the president's term, they have what they call midterm elections. Now, those elections are for Congress, I believe, in the Senate, and they know. Ron McCready says the Republicans are hard. Yeah, they know that it's 10 minutes before the hour. We're going to end at 8 o'clock, even though I started a little bit late. But yeah, they know. They know what's going on. They know that if they let the cat out of the bag, or if they let the cuts kick in before the midterms, they're going to lose the Senate and probably the House too. You see, because even though the congressmen knew that their own constituency was going to get hurt, they voted for it anyway. They voted for their job more over voting for the people. They voted for their job. But you got to give some of the props to Senator Tom Tillis, for example, who announced that he wasn't running it because he knew that Trump was going to come after him. See, this isn't a democracy. This is hello, Annette Marshall. Thanks for listening to the program. Yeah, they know. They know. They don't. They're not going to let that thing out before the midterms because they know they're going to lose. So they're going to wait. So it's a trick. So you got snapped up. And yeah, Trump, they did some fraud. There is some fraud going on. There's fraud in Medicaid. There's fraud in everything, in all the entitlement programs. Look what happened with the COVID, the PPP, and all that stuff. How much billions and billions of dollars were stolen that the United States government will never find. But you don't cut everybody's legs off. You don't make the people presume innocent people suffer. No, you don't do that. And this is what Trump is doing. He's going after everybody, and there's a lot of families that are going to get hurt. So the bill. So all of the Democrats, and now these people who are Medicaid, they got to work somewhere. I mean, come on, they got to work somewhere. 18 to 64, and the parents of kids over 14. Now, some of the changes are going to take place right after the time, but most of the pain is going to be, after the returns. So once the bill is signed, workers will be able to claim a special deduction on their tax returns for tips and overtime pay. So instead of seeing an immediate boost in their take-home pay, they'd still have federal taxes withheld during their year. But at tax time, I told you, it's an effing fraud. At tax time, they can deduct up to $25,000 in reported tips and $12,500 overtime on their taxable income, lowering what they owe or boosting their refund. So the deduction is most likely to benefit middle-income earners who actually owe federal income tax. For low-income workers, especially those whose earnings already fall below the federal tax threshold, the change feel less significant because they often don't pay much or anything federal income tax to begin with. And since the benefit phases out for high earners and expires in 2028, it's a temporary break aimed squarely at the middle class. $940 days, big, beautiful. And I don't think many of the senators and Congress even read this. So it makes the tax break permanent, and at 3 trillion, nation's 3.6. I mean, how long can we go on with this the deficit? So that means that the United States of America is $36.2 trillion in debt total. So you know what a trillion is? A trillion is a million billion dollars is a trillion. A million, 1,000 million, a million billion is a trillion. Yeah. So times that by 36. And that's a lot. Yeah, a trillion is a one with 12 zeros after. A million has only six. Uh, there's 1,000 billion in a trillion. 1,000 billion. So so do that 1,000 billion times 36, and that's what the United States government is. Um, that's what the United States government is um, in debt. 1,000, 1,000 billion is a trillion. So you multiply 1,000 billion times 36. So it's like 36,000 billion. I mean, the government is always going to be in debt. The United States government is always going to be in debt. You know, it's always going to be in debt. So you got 1,000 billion is a trillion. 1,000 billion is a trillion. And so the United States government is 36.2 trillion, 36.2 thousand billion. I mean, you can't even quantify it. You can't even quantify it. But the United States government is in debt, and debt is not going down; it's going up. So the United States government is like, they got a wide open like credit card with no limit. So they want to own. I don't know why they even have a debt limit because they keep raising it. Obama raised it. George Bush raised it. All of the presidents, the last several presidents have raised. They raised. Just unbelievable. So now, this is government. I mean, when is the government gonna break? When is when is how much is too much? Imagine the government, you know, the government, what a debt ceiling would be, 50 years from now, after we're all dead. They might be 100 trillion, 200 trillion, 500 trillion. Yeah, Trump is adding to the deficit. Trump is adding 3.4 trillion to the deficit. See, those those cuts, it would be one thing if the cuts went to to lower the national debt, but the cuts are not going to lower the national debt. The cuts are going to the rich, to the wealthy. That's where the cuts are going. So, if you're gonna give somebody, if you're gonna cut taxes, you have to bring in other revenue to cover that. So um, this no tax on overtime is a bone. It's a bone. It's nothing. You get to take $12,500 off your tax liability. So you're still working all year. You paying income tax all year, and then at the end of the year, you gotta pay tax on the tax. You gotta pay tax on the income that was already taxed. Now, what kind of trap is that? What kind of trap is that? This this overtime thing is a scam. It's a scam. The no tax on tip is a scam. Trump is cutting Medicaid, 18% cutting Medicaid, cutting SNAP, cutting, you know, they already cut from the, helping people overseas, people in third world countries that they were helping. They already cut that. So all those people are going to die. All those people are going to die. Those people that were getting health care from through through some of the help agencies, those people are going to die. And then you got a bunch of Americans who are going to die. There's about 13 minutes before the end of the program. Yeah. So it's crazy. And y'all in TikTok me off. TikTok me off. I mentioned blacks and Hispanic. Yeah, but they can show vaginas and breasts and all kinds of stuff twerking, but they get upset because I said something. So they suspended me till July 10th. No, you gives a F. Whatever. I'm not on it anyway. But yeah, people twerking and getting shot, stabbed, all kinds of stuff. Sex stuff, women, showing their vaginas, and then they gonna get mad at me. That's really messed up. I can't believe no one had seen this before. I never understood it. Yeah, well, neither did I. But I was on TikTok for a minute when they cut me off because I mentioned blacks and Hispanics voted for Trump. But yet and still is coochie all over the place, you know, twerking, butt cheeks hanging out, breasts, nipples, all kinds of stuff. And you get to see the actual woman's vagina on TikTok. And they're gonna get mad at me because I mentioned blacks and Hispanics voted for Trump. But see, in addition, the same blacks and Hispanics who voted for Trump are going to be the ones who are hurt the most. They're going to be the ones that hurt the most because you voted for Trump. You fell for the banana in the tailpipe. It was a sucker move because look what he's done. Look what Trump has done. What has Trump done for black folks since he got elected? Not a damn thing. Nothing. Trump hasn't done nothing for black folks since he got elected. Not one single thing. But y'all sitting there, black folks in the White House, yeah, we here with Donald J. Trump. Just a bunch of idiots. Just a bunch of idiots. Really. No. I mean, come on. What has Trump done for black people? What has Trump done specifically for black folks since he got elected? Nothing. See, because they know that we're going to fall for whatever they say. Because black and Hispanics, we've been like suckers for a long time, especially with the Democratic Party. Because the Democrats they look old and worn out and tired. They look terrible. Black folks fell for it, fell for banana in the tailpipe, Ronald McCready, fell for banana in the tailpipe, fell for the, for the three-card Monty, fell for the shell game where there's no ball under each one of those cups. So they have 3 cups and they're swiping them around, mixing them up on the table, and you swear that ball is under one of those cups, and you pick a cup, the ball's not there. You know why? Because the ball was dropped when you wasn't looking, and so now there ain't no ball. And that's what Trump did to y'all black folks and Hispanics. You fell with a banana in the tailpipe, and look at you now. Take a break. Come back with more Ron Kelly Talk Radio show. Yes, indeed, I am the man. What a news cycle this is. This guy has got to go. Trump has got to go. George Floyd snuffed out by this police officer who's supposed to be serving and protecting people.
It's the Ron Kelly Show.
Everybody, it's the Ron Kelly Talk Radio program. I don't know why I be heard. I'm having, God must be like, I got something for you. Because I've been having so much trouble trying to broadcast my program over the last several weeks. I'm about to come off of social media. I'm about to come off of social media. God has something in store for me. Okay, at 8 minutes before the end of the program, so we'll end at 15. So there's about 8 minutes left of the program. But yeah, we fell for it. Black folks have been so the easiest. The Democrats have been using us for years. The Democrats have been using black folks for years. You know, the black experience in America hasn't gotten any better, and we've been being used for years. We've been allowing ourselves to be used since the 70s, the 60s. We've been allowing ourselves to be used. Yeah, we've been allowing ourselves to be used all these years by the Democrats. You know, then Trump comes along and you fall for the banana tailpipe Trump. And now you're not getting anything. Because the Trump bill is going to affect mostly lower class, the black and Hispanic. Big, beautiful bill. Yeah, beautiful for whom? Beautiful for whom? Beautiful for those hospitals that are not, you know, the hospitals that are not the big ones like they have in New York, you know. So the hospitals in the rural areas are going to suffer. Yeah, the hospitals in the middle of Wyoming are going to suffer. The people that live out there are going to suffer. See, so the pain part of this thing are not going to be implemented until after the midterms, because they want to make sure that they all get reelected, and they want to hold on to the Senate and the House, because they know if they implement the painful parts of this big ugly bill, it's going to be a revolt, and they're going to be voted out of office, and they know that. And see, what I don't understand is a lot of the senators and the congressmen who voted for this, they know that their asses are on the line. They know they're in trouble. You know, it was the fear of Trump was more than the fear of being voted out of office. The fear of Trump. So this ain't a democracy no more. It's 3.5 minutes before the hour. Before the end of the program. This is the democracy no more. We got a dictatorship. And just like everybody in North Korea is afraid of Kim Jong-un, everybody in America is afraid of Donald Trump. Because Trump is leading with fear. And all the people, all the senators, a lot of those people swallowed their spit and voted, held their nose, and voted for that bill. Because a lot of them know that they were voting their job away. Because the Democrats, see, and this is a perfect opportunity for the Democrats. This is great for the Democrats that they pass this bill. Because now the Democrats can get out there and start beating the drum, full court press, blitzing the airwaves, and talking about all the stuff that Trump voted for. So they can't be that stupid to blow this opportunity. All they got to do is get out and start talking about the Medicaid people having to work. You got to work. I mean, you gotta work. I mean, come on. You gotta work in order to get Medicaid. What kind of shit is that? Unbelievable. There's about 2 minutes left in the program. Yeah. So this thing is once again, black folks fell for the banana in the tailpipe and the Hispanic and voted for Trump. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, the Democrats take advantage of this opportunity. You can take back the Senate, you can take the House, and you can stop them from doing anything else. Hopefully, there won't be, you won't do too much before the midterms next year. So the Democrats can seize upon this opportunity. Just ridiculous. Anyway, everybody, it's about a minute into the program. Thank you so much for joining me. TikTok cut a brother off. TikTok, they cut me off. They cut me off. But yet still, they still have women's vaginas, twerking and all kinds of nipples and all kinds of nakedness. People getting killed, shot, ran over, and they want to come at. Oh my God, I don't need TikTok. All right, I'm out of here, everybody. Have a great holiday weekend. We'll see you back in next Thursday for another Rocket Show. It's calling everybody. Take care of yourself, people, and remember that it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice, and then we can have it all together. But together, maybe we can have it